What's going on, guys? I'm replacing the timing belt in this 1997 Honda Prelude. We can see this is what I suspect is the original belt. You can see where it says Honda on it. But I basically want to use this as an opportunity to show you the method I use to get the timing belt properly aligned the first time, every time. So I begin by removing all the covers and everything until I can visually see the timing belt. I then look up the documentation about putting the engine on top dead center for cylinder number 1. Or, some engines might have a different procedure. They might ask that you start with top dead center for some other cylinder number. But I basically position the engine like so, to where the alignment marks are properly lined up. So we can see here on the cam pulleys, there are those two lines pointing at each other. And we've got the up arrow on both properly pointed up. And looking down at the bottom on the crank, the key is at the top, and you can also see the arrow on the sprocket is properly aligned. So what I'm looking at is right back there. You can see the reference mark on the aluminum body. It's a little out of focus, but there we go. So I've got everything lined up. And now, before removing the original belt, I take a paint pen and I draw reference marks between the pulley and the original belt. So I do that on all of the cam sprockets, so we can see I've got a reference mark here, got a reference mark here as well. And looking at the bottom, I actually put a total of 3 marks. And I do 3 marks because sometimes when you're replacing the water pump, you'll leak coolant onto this and it can wash away the paint. So to be safe, I like to use 3 paint marks. And after I've properly marked all of the sprockets to the belt, I remove the belt and then I transfer those marks to the new belt. So this is the old belt, and you can see where I originally marked it. And I basically just transition or transfer those marks to the new belt. So on the new belt, I start with 1 mark. I go ahead and put that on there. And then I count the number of teeth on the old belt. I count the number of teeth from that mark to the other one, and I write it down. So in this case, you can see I wrote 34 because starting at 0 here, there are 34 little teeth here. And so I count the number of teeth on the new belt and transfer that mark there. And I do that all the way around the belt. Transfer all the marks. That way, when I throw the new belt on and I apply the tension, I know it's going to be good to go. It's still a good idea to rotate the engine and check and make sure that the marks line up. But I've been doing this method for a while. It is a little time consuming if you're in a hurry. It's not the fastest way to get things done, but I've never had to redo the timing using this method. So it's always on. I'll rotate the engine and check the marks just to be sure that they're lined up, but this has worked really well for me so far. So I figured I'd share it with you guys. You can see here I'm removing this from the tensioner, putting tension on here. So yeah, I hope that this method is helpful for you. One last thing I will mention, I do like to draw an arrow indicating the direction of rotation. I draw that on both the old and new belt. Just helps me properly install the new belt. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'd like to hear about it down below. Also, drop any tips that you may have in regards to replacing the timing belt. And thanks for watching.